Just Jan show on the Women Helping Women channel. I have a phenomenal guest tonight. Someone who has been slowly but surely leading a parade. I don't even know if she knows it, but she created See Jane Do. And I have to say, when I was little, when I read that book, I was so glad that Jane had dark hair, just like us. Did you identify with her?
Yeah, well, you know, Jane really is, to me, always been the, I don't even want to say, I mean, she's been iconic, but she's also really the everyday woman, yes. You know, the everyday girl. And I mean, it's that coupled with the pop culture component of that. It's that coupled with see what Jane can do, right? Like how much this little girl is capable of. So, I mean, all that is coupled into See Jane Do.
She's like the Veronica in the Archie comics. So I want to introduce to you this beautiful woman. I just wanted her to start out right at the kitchen table of wisdom. Elisa Parker. Do you also use the name Henderson?
No.
No?
No, my maiden name? Not really. I mean, I guess that's where you could find me on Facebook.
So Elisa Parker, she has a radio show, and it's a wide gamut of music. But what I read about her is that she said breastfeeding and radio broadcasting go together.
That's true. Oh my gosh. And Jan, that was like, I don't know, 10 years ago. But it's true, actually. And someone captured a photo of that when I brought my youngest daughter into the radio studio. I had just got the music magazine program at KVMR just shortly before I gave birth to my daughter Peyton, and so I'd bring her in because I was nursing her, and someone captured that photo, and I shared it with Ms. Magazine, and they thought it was super fun to show. You know, they love showing women who are nursing in action or just in our everyday lives, trying to balance it all.
And it's that Jane Do again that I think you are so accessible because you are doing powerful broadcasting media things, and you are just the gal next door. You never put yourself above anybody. You meet all of your guests right where they're at, so respectfully, honoring them. And another principle about you is your consistency. So here you are, you have been building, and what you may not realize is you've been building a branding for yourself in a very humble way that has allowed other women to trust her. So the recent turn of events of our authority and government now being not so trustworthy, we have this woman showing up with the voice of trustworthiness and authenticity to the tune where she's now leading one of the co-leaders of Indivisible Women of Nevada County. Another reason I say that we are that facet diamond gem of the leadership of the new paradigm. Tell me a little bit about what is that about? It's just,
oh my gosh, indivisible. I mean, I'm sure, and you might be able to relate to this too. I mean, I feel like for so many of us, everything that we've been working for and striving for, especially when it comes to women's voices, or especially when it comes to encouraging women to stand in our full power as our whole selves. I feel like I've been working on that at least for the last 10 years, at least this whole lifetime, and what often seems like other lifetimes too, right? And so for this moment, it's sometimes overwhelming, it's magical, it's connecting with women like you. I often describe what happened after the election, that a spell was broken.
Yes.
A spell was broken, and you know, we're surrounded by all these beautiful artifacts, and one of the things I was showing recently is, you know, they uncovered all these goddess artifacts of worshiping the mother and the goddess, thinking that, right, maybe they were 6,000, or maybe it was 7,000 BC, and then they find out it's 27,000
matriarchal cultures,
for thousands of years.
Yes.
So I bring that up because in addition to the spell being broken, what happened is like women have started to wake up.
Oh,
right?
Thank you.
They're waking up. And the other thing women say is, oh, I can't believe it's only been like a couple of months.
Yes.
It feels like a lifetime. And I'm like, well, when you look at the history, when you look at that we've been under this patriarchal model for 6,000 years, and we've woken up to that, and we're now caring and remembering and accessing all of those amazing gifts and talents and the history that we've been carrying in our bodies, in our lineage. No wonder we feel like it's been eons and lifetimes.
It's in our
right?
DNA.
It's in our DNA.
I think the last blip was 2,000 years ago with Magdalene and that crowd attempting, but of course we know what happened to them.
Yeah, being persecuted. I think, I mean, I love to say like the witches are rising up. I think witches, I mean, so like being healers and women being connected to the wild world.
Intuition. Energy, understanding, feeding people, all of these things are the feminine. Well, my grandmother, I think she was divine feminine. She was a nurse. She would say, Jan, the pendulum has to swing all the way one way. And it is swung to the masculine, almost focus, single focus, catch the deer. And now it's swinging over to us.
Swinging back. And now, I mean, I'm very mindful of the men in all of this too, even though Indivisible Woman is taken off. You know, when I do my pendulum, when it's swinging, when it's right on, then it's going full circle. And that's what I really think we're moving into. So Indivisible Woman. So here we have women waking up. Here I've been cultivating and working with C. Jane Do for about a decade now. And here they are. And so it started because, well, first Marilyn Nyborg had a gathering in her living room. A lot of us had gatherings, right? To like
circles
after the election, connecting with each other. And then we all decided to meet at a cafe. And at that time, it was a stormy day. We were calling each other. Streets are flooding. And we're like, who's going to show up? So we go there, and there's 50 women there. 50, right? On a stormy day. Go forward after the Women's March. We meet at the same cafe, and we think, okay, maybe there will be 100 women. 350 women showed up. This isn't a rural, small town.
That's a sign.
Small town, right?
Yeah.
So then we do another gathering at the Miners Foundry. We're like, well, we better provide more space. 600 women showed up. 600, right?
It was palpable, the energy.
It was. Yes. And I have to say, I've never, having done so many events for women, with women, never have I experienced all these women really showing up, rising up, and working together. So that event you went to at the Miners Foundry, it was so seamless because everyone just stepped in and plugging in and rising up in the roles that they're supposed to be doing.
It's so natural. It is so peaceful. The media event I had in October here for SOAR, a woman came in, looked and said it was almost as if every woman seamlessly knew what to do and just flowed. And you know the time and the place is right. And this emergence of the voice of the divine feminine, it can't be stopped.
No.
It is the right time. And there is a place for the males. And the males that love us and work with us, I see them as champions and assisting and supporting us to move forward. And that is so touching. I have men on this show because there's a lot of men who have anything that is truth, beauty, goodness is a feminine nature.
It's true. I mean, and to show up as our whole selves means that we show up with honoring the masculine and the feminine within us all. And it's interesting times for women, but also it's, I see the challenges with that men are going, because our culture doesn't really support the feminine in men, and that's hard. And I also see, because it's Indivisible Women, and it is for all women, that it's been really not just having this, it's been a process and a learning experience just for us who are helping to create and cultivate this, to learn about ourselves, to learn about when we suggest to a man that this is for women only. And then there's backlash on that. We're like, oh, well, what is that about?
And it makes us have to define what are the energy streams. Are we talking about separation? I always say we're just starting with the women first. Just first. What I found amazing when I went in at 650 women, some women there have never been.
No, half of the women, I would say.
They weren't sure why they were there. I could see it, but they knew they were supposed to be there.
Those are, okay, so, and if I know we'll have a break, but so we've started to look at, we're creating new systems and models.
Yes, absolutely.
And we realize that women are stepping into, a lot of us are stepping into this form of leadership for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say the spell's broken, it's like those animated Disney pictures where all of a sudden the character, she starts to sparkle and she sees herself. Like for the first time.
It's a new vibration.
Right? And then my friend Sheila was saying, and more than that, it's like we see each other.
Yes.
So women are stepping into this, and one of the things we're mindful of is, well, how do we create accessible activism? How do we create a safe space so women can step into wherever they are, wherever they are at. There's no judgment. There's no right and wrong. We call them the toe dippers, the swimmers, and the divers.
Oh, beautiful.
Right? So
to give them their safety zone.
And no right or wrong around any of it. Toe dippers are, right? I'm just feeling it out. Mm-hmm. Swimmers are like, I'm showing up at the meeting, I'm making calls. Divers would be like you and I, we're going in. We also have, we realized too, those that are hanging out on the shore.
Sure.
And they aren't quite sure yet.
The water.
Maybe they haven't even tested it yet, but they're in awareness and holding their emotions and whatever that is.
Because activism has been scary, protesting, going against. And the other day I read something, someone said, we don't want to oppose authority. And I said, we want to be proponents for what is right and good.
That's right.
And these thousands upon thousands of women, huge groups in D.C., peaceful demonstrations, that's noticeable.
It is.
That's
noticeable.
Powerful.
Yeah. This is powerful. 5 million
that
of
cannot
us.
be avoided.
No. And I was in DC and it was amazing. It was it was the same feeling I know others experienced all around wherever they were at.
Yes, see, I see you as this Jane Doe. You are a player, you are a mentor, you are an inspiration. So we will be back in just momentarily with Elisa Parker, here a leader of the emerging voice of the feminine here in Nevada County and beyond. Right back. Show. We have an outstanding, amazing woman in this little package, and as I said, what she's doing is what all women are beginning to galvanize around the United States, and she's doing it in such a sensible, simple, logical way of how to organize women.
Sometimes it doesn't feel very logical. I guess in my Aries nature. Well, you're an Aries, so you know it doesn't always feel...
This is our birthday week. Yeah.
So it doesn't feel sometimes logical, but I guess a lot of times it feels right. And I think that's what we have to pay attention to is when it just feels right. And a lot of times we wonder if you get too much in your monkey mind about it, you can start thinking, well, is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Or is that what it's supposed to be? Or that doesn't make sense. But if it feels right, then you got to go for it. Or I always pay attention, like women or just people who show up in my lives, especially more than once. And I think, okay, there's a reason why. I've seen Kimberly several times now, for example. She's hanging out on the sidelines. I've seen her a couple times recently, so I'm aware of that, and I've just made it makes me think, what is it that I'm supposed to connect with Kimberly about?
This is it. This is new to you, Elisa, but this is what this show is about. You hold a note, Kimberly holds a note, every guest does, and they bring a different ingredient to baking this cake of the new earth, which is fueled by the voice of the divine feminine.
It is. It's like I love to channel like the grandmother spider.
Absolutely.
And just connecting that web. And that's like when we talked about indivisible women, and I talk about how what we've been creating and cultivating for so many years.
Yes.
The connections that I've made just through See Jane Do, the extraordinary women that I've connected with over the last 8 to 10 years. What's so exciting is like we are all able to just show up together and collaborate and co-create in ways that a couple of years ago didn't seem possible. And to me, that is so exciting.
It is accelerating, and you said connection, collaborate. It's all the C words, co-creation, and it replaces the old feminine C competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're getting together. And on the break, she was saying that women just keep showing up.
They do. Probably 50% of the women that are showing up right now are women that have never stepped into this form of leadership, never stepped into this form of activism. Yet, I think it's important for us to recognize as women that for most of us, we've been taking the lead in our lives. And so to not beat ourselves up around that, just because you haven't been active in a political realm, doesn't mean you're not a leader by any means. And we need you and those to take those skills, especially like, let's say you're a mother, like those skills we use as moms to help make the world a better place right now. We
keep families and the schools afloat, but we have almost been in the background in some ways that it's not important work, but nothing would work without us.
That's right. We've been on the sidelines for a long time, and so now it's just encouraging women to step up into the front lines a little bit.
Just like Rosie the Riveter. Boy, when they needed those boats, she stepped right up, and they did a beautiful job. I visited some of the Rosie the Riveters down at Point Richmond.
Yes. So in talking about some of the amazing women that I've met with See Jane Do, Betty, who's the oldest ranger in the United States, oldest park ranger. She's African American, and she is a ranger at the Rosie the Riveter State Park. And I've had an opportunity to serve on a panel with her before, and she's on Facebook, so it's fun. I don't know if she's in her 80s now. She's amazing. She would be a great guest too.
I'd love to have her.
Yeah.
So we're helping women come together in safe ways, and you even have different categories for them to be in. And I hope that you're also helping women go into this shoot to actually run for office and become leaders.
Yeah, so actually it's interesting you mentioned that. Indivisible Women just kind of spontaneously combusted and blossomed. I say we're like the lotus that's been planting the seed in the mud. It's been a little dirty, and we've been sprouting up, and now we're blossoming and connecting. And so it wasn't even really planned, Jen. I mean, it wasn't planned to even do Indivisible Women. We didn't sit down and say, let's write out what our goals would be. No, I mean, it was literally like holding the space, and women showed up. So now we're starting to get a little more organized and really more thoughtful around our intentions. And one of those is around having a team that works directly with women to step into leadership, to identify seats that are available. And further than that, we're actually forming a PAC, a grassroots local women PAC. And we're going to help support women who are running. We know 4 women just here in Nevada County that are going to be running. And so, and I was just in conversation with Erin Velarde of Vote Run Lead yesterday, and talk about partnerships. They're aligning with all the other organizations that train women to lead. So we're going to be now reaching out to them. So when someone approaches us and says, I think I'd like to run, we can plug them in to help them with raising the funds. Because we're like, how are we going to mobilize and optimize and leverage all these women? that are here now.
That was
So we
my
need
question.
something specific, right? We want to be able to get them in there.
Organizational structure you're talking about, because it's based on organics and it's based on passion and the timing. It's not like some of the previous ones, or what can it do for me? Or how can I
Totally.
posture myself, which is the old manipulative,
That's right.
predatory energy. This is pure feminine energy, good for all, harm to none, and let me help you.
That's
and
right.
So what you're doing is you're forming circles based on skills, needs, wants, and that's the natural
I
focus
know.
of circles.
It's true, and like I said, women are just plugging in now where
Yes.
it's needed, and
Yes.
it doesn't mean. I mean, in this learning process, in this experience, in this experiment, as I call it, of course, there are many times when you're dealing with over 2,600 women, for example, which is how many women are on the private Facebook group.
Yes.
That's a lot of energy, a lot of women coming in at different areas. And so anytime I'm triggered, I'm like, how does this apply to me on a personal level? And what is it that I need to learn about this and learn about myself in this dynamic? So we're all figuring it out,
Yes.
right? And I encourage people just to be patient. We like to say, I just woke up, so give me a minute.
Yes.
It's like my 11-year-old likes to wake me up early in the morning, and she's all dressed and ready to go, and I'm laying in bed, and she's like, hurry up and get up, and I'm like, I just woke up, give me a minute. And that's
Yes.
what we're going through as women.
That's a perfect thing.
Don't burn out.
We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to impress each other.
Yeah.
And the key is if each woman can show up with the resonance of her gift. So my gift is helping women who want to speak up, release the fear and the pressure that they have felt. So if we all just say it, just as I just said it, not be afraid, that's my specialty.
It is
I'm
your
good at that.
specialty. And I had a realization, with both of us interviewing and featuring just incredible people. For me, I realized it's really like medicine.
Yes.
When I did a vision board years ago, and it was like, I'll heal thousands of people. And so we say things and we don't know what that's going to be or what that will look like. And then it was recently, I was like, oh my gosh, like being able to connect through story
Yes.
and to be able to sit with someone like you and to be
Right.
able to see you for who you are and to be able to
Yes.
have that experience shared, that's medicine.
That's the kitchen table
That's the-
feminine
totally.
way to be real and to not be perfect, but to say, can I share this with the community?
Yeah.
Yes, and to have it be received by those that need it. This is how we are building the new paradigm. And you know
Yeah.
what? If we help the men feel safe and that they're joining with us, and they're right there with us.
They are right there with us. When I mentioned one of the interesting experiences that when I say we, like our leadership team and the co-founders, around having this initially as women only, and men saying, well, why can't I be in, or what? So here's what we wanted to do initially first as women. First, we wanted to say, well, how can I fix this? And then we wanted to say, well, let's see, well, we could create an alternative group for men. And we're like, wait a sec.
no.
Now we are, that is your thing.
Right.
We, again, to fix it, we want to take care of your feelings.
Yes.
And that also happens on our Facebook threads sometimes with,
Right.
if someone's critical and we'll jump in, and it's like we want to first fix their feelings, and we want to make sure that they feel comfortable to share this and make them look like they're okay. And we're like, what is
That's
going
why it
on?
has limited
Yes,
women. But if we speak, someone won't like us, they'll get mad, they'll cut us off. And that is the energy we have to release. Because if we are honest, it empowers everyone.
If we're honest too, like I always say with, Maya Angelou, I just love
Oh,
her.
yes,
And I
she's
named my
fabulous,
first
yes.
daughter after her. And she modeled compassion, but she also modeled that with grace and strength.
Yes.
And I think for women, if we can hold, those are some of the greatest gifts that we have as women.
Yes.
And if we can model that and how we communicate and share with each other,
Yes.
if we can model that which we want to see in the world. So if we're being critical on Facebook, for example, then how is that getting us anywhere? How is that really being what we want to see in the world? And so I just have to keep thinking, well, how do I model that then?
Yes. So as a leader, you're being chiseled. I can
Oh,
feel
yeah.
it.
There's
You're
some
the
chiseling
you're the
going
diamond
on.
in the rough. And so are we going to see Elisa Parker
What do you
in
think?
office?
Well, I think someday I'll run for office. I mean, I've gone through both Friend Leads training. At some point, yes. I feel like there will be something radical, and it's going to be in a whole different system and what that looks like. I mean, there's been ideas of running for job share, as a job share. See Jane Do running because corporations are recognized as people, which is ridiculous, but
It might be an alternate source of recognized authority outside our present system.
Well, that's
or
happened.
Perhaps
Yeah.
over 50% of the voters are women. Now they would vote for you over the same old predatory more shadow energy.
Yeah.
So you must allow yourself to imagine.
It could be. I would say real quick, in India, there is a Congress that set up a parliament of just women, and the individuals who founded that, they trained women, they had to run, and I'm not sure what's going on with that now, but what a great example of how I think we have to step out of the box. It's not business as usual. We're recreating new possibilities.
Yes, we are. I feel like we've just begun this conversation. And I hope you feel the excitement and the just undertow and the tsunami coming of change through the voice, the knowing, and the determination of the newly awakened feminine. And I recognize this woman again just as a humble, beautiful, perfect communication package for what all this is about. Elisa Parker, how can would you like people to contact you?
Sure, you can contact me. I wouldn't say I'm perfect by any means. I mean, I have everything I need to be here right now. Like, you have everything you need to do and be in this world. The law of grace says that you deserve everything you ever wanted, right? So for love and joy, like, we were born with that already. So you already are enough. So to connect with us, you can connect with me and our team at cjanedo.com, and you can also connect with us at indivisiblewomen.org. If you're thinking of establishing an indivisible group in your community, that's something that we're doing and working with women around. And I also do consultations with women just on what does it feel like, and you're your best teacher. So what Jan and I can do is just help provide the tools for you and the tips. And I'm always here to just be an ear and also to offer some tips and tools to help access your greatest self.
Again, I thank this beautiful woman. She's an ambassador of light, and watch where this woman's going. A comet. Again, a transformational agent here on our earth, and I feel sad we have to end the show, but we'll probably keep talking here at this kitchen table. And I encourage you to keep talking and you to dream, and I know that you've gotten this sparkle in your blood from Elisa. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for joining us today. This programming is for you to grow and be inspired. And before we say goodbye today, I'd like to tell you who is joining us next week. You know, we all have a message, and maybe you are ready to step out and be the host of your own TV show. It's much easier than you can imagine.